Perkins Show, brought to you by the people who bring you the refreshing taste of Coca-Cola. By Pony, where sports are more than just a game. By Frito-Lay, makers of Lay's and Ruffles brand potato chips.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome once again to the Ray Perkins Show. I'm Dennis Holman, along with head coach and athletic director Ray Perkins. Coach, after 3 games, Alabama stands 3-0. The first 2 games, we saw a very tough and aggressive Alabama defense. Yesterday, however, we saw an offense on Alabama that virtually every time they had the football, they put points on the board. You have to be impressed with that effort.
Well, we're very pleased, Dennis, with our offensive show. We're very pleased with the victory, without any question. The thing that we wanted to do is try to improve every week, you know, in every category and try to get a little bit better. I think we did in a few yesterday, and we showed that yesterday. I think we probably got a little bit better in all of them during the course of the week in the preparation, but we didn't really show that yesterday. I think we have to give their offense some credit in the first half also. They had a real good game plan and moved the ball extremely well. McGowan, their quarterback, and Taylor did a fine job for them in that offensive show, and our defense didn't play quite as well as we'd like to. And they moved the ball better than they should have, we feel like, on our defense. And at the halftime, we talked about that somewhat, and I think we went out and showed a little bit more of what kind of defense that we can play and shut them out in the second half. But we're very pleased with our offensive show, putting the points on the board virtually every time we had it, especially there in the first half. And I think Mike Shula handled the offense extremely well, and we had some real fine play by some young people that we wanted to get in the game, and I think we played like 70 or 75 people, which is always good, and I think, as we talked earlier, that should help us down the stretch. The more experience that we can get to some of these young people where we have some depth problems will help us down the road.
Stay with us, everyone. We'll be back after this. As a former receiver, I was very impressed with the play of Clay Whitehurst yesterday.
Well, Dennis, he's a very smart player, very heady player, runs very precise patterns, and he's got a great desire to catch the football. And as you and I both know, that's what it takes to be a receiver and be a fine one, and he is. He's a very fine player.
Well, as we get into first quarter action, Coach, I was excited to see also that we opened up the game very quickly.
Well, we had some things we wanted to do, Dennis, that we felt like we'd been working on for 2 or 3 weeks, and we felt like we had a high percentage chance of executing them in the passing game. And field position had a lot to do with it, so we got the field position we needed for it, and we got the plays called and executed them very well. I think the offense did. The offense executed the running game exceptionally well, too.
Great run by Chester Braggs there.
All of our running backs, I think, ran the ball well. Here's a long pass to Greg Richardson there early. Makes a real good catch. He's got real good concentration on the ball down to the 2-yard line. Here it is again in slow motion. Ground level, that's a real good angle right there from the camera's viewpoint. But Chester Braggs runs it in for the touchdown, and we're on the board in 1 minute and 30 seconds. You know, I always get a little concerned when we score too quick. You know, most coaches, most players, you know, they don't mind scoring real quick. I get a little concerned when we score real quick.
Well, you had some excited fans after that first touchdown.
Yeah, well, we were glad, and we're real happy and pleased that appreciate all of our fans that came out to watch us in every game. In particular, we're pleased, and I want to thank our student body for being out there early. When we go around our walk, that means an awful lot to our players to know that their fellow students are really behind them the way our students are this year. But all of our running backs, as we were talking about earlier, Murray Hill, is glad to get him in the game. He's the young man that we've been trying to get in the game the last 2 weeks. Also, Gene Jelks was back yesterday. Bobby Humphrey had a great day. And all 3 of those young men, I think, are just going to get better and better. Here's Bobby right here making some real good moves, making some real good yards. He gains over 100 yards yesterday. And but all of our backs are going to get better and better as they get more experience. And it's good that we were able to get them in the game and get them some experience so they can be in a position to help us down the road.
And there's Clay Whitehurst on the sideline. Great catch, great catch.
Just very good discipline. Real good discipline on the sideline by Clay. There's Bobby going in for a touchdown. But earlier you saw Thornton Chandler catch the ball, and Thornton's only caught 4 balls this year, but he's caught everything he's touched. He's got real good hands, and he's a great blocker.
I love to see what he does with football after he catches it, too. He knows what to do.
He sure does. He gets it turned up and gets some extra yardage.
Well, one thing about Cincinnati I noticed yesterday, Coach, they didn't back up from us. They kept after us the whole ball game, and that quarterback of theirs is very impressive.
Here he is here, and he's hard to handle. He's hard to bring in. He's very similar to Taylor, the little running back. He's hard to tackle. Look at this guy.
He must have gained 200 yards.
He's hard to tackle. Whether you're handing the ball off to him or whether you throw it to him on a short pass, he's hard to handle. Their offense just kept banging at the door, kept banging at the door, and kept banging at the door. I tell you, they weren't awed to be in front of the crowd that they're not in front of very often. And they weren't scared one little bit. But they pick up 26 first downs. You can look at it a lot of different ways. Our defensive goal is to keep the other team under 14 points. They did that. They played a shutout in the second half. So we did some things real well on defense as well as offense.
Well, it's great after the first quarter action. We've got a 14-0 lead. So everyone stay with us. We'll be back after this. Coach, what about the injury status yesterday?
Well, I don't think we got anyone seriously hurt. We had Deshaun Lee, one of our strong safeties, limp off the field there at one time, and we thought he might have a fracture, but an X-ray after the game showed it to be negative. So I don't think we got anyone seriously banged up that will miss any work this week even. So we're very fortunate from that standpoint. I certainly hope their quarterback's ankle or leg, whatever it was, is not a serious type thing. They carried him to the hospital to have X-rays, but I really still hadn't heard anything, but I certainly hope it's not serious.
Well, it's tremendous running there by Bobby Humphrey.
Yes, it is. I tell you, he's a very talented young man. He's got real good running vision, and a lot of people might not realize it, but that's one of the most important things about a running back is to have vision, seeing where to run and seeing how his blocking is set up and so forth. Here's Murray Hill. Murray's first time he's in the game and the first play he's in the game, we pitched him the football and let him run it. But he's another one of those young backs that's just going to get better and better as time goes along. Here's a touchdown pass to Thornton Chandler. His first touchdown pass ever. And I saw his mother after the game over at the dorm, and she was just so excited about her son catching his first ever touchdown pass. Saw quite a few of the parents. Hadn't seen him in quite a while. Mr. and Mrs. Rose, Larry Rose's mother and father, they're at the dorm. Hadn't seen them in a long time. It was real good to see them. The Good family, always good to see them. But saw a lot of the parents there at the dorm, and it's real nice to see and get to visit with them. Number 55 right here is Derek Thomas filling in for Cornelius. While his leg's in a cast, I think he played pretty well. And, we know that some of those freshmen are going to make some mistakes. There's Vernon Wilkinson coming up, making a real good tackle after a catch. This is their quarterback and their receivers. He's just doing a great job. I tell you what, their quarterback is a fine player, and can't take anything away from him. But he's really a fine player.
Up until about the middle of the third quarter and into the fourth, they stayed after us pretty good.
Sure
you
did.
could tell they wore them down after that.
Wore them down from a people's standpoint, and it was hot. It was 90, 95 degrees on that AstroTurf, but he's really a fine player. Speaking of Derek Thomas, though, the outside linebacker filling in for Cornelius, I think he played pretty well, and all he's going to do is get better and better as time goes on. Here's Craig Turner. Craig is one of those people that got a little bit injury, sprained that ankle again or got it bruised a little more so. Here's Clay Whitehurst, big third down play. Mike Schuler did a super job on that play. I'm waiting for him to clear one of the linebackers, or really it was a strong safety. But he did a great job of waiting on him and laying the ball in there. Here's Craig Turner again, and Craig didn't really run the ball that many times yesterday, but we kept him out after we found out his leg was hurt. They were trying to go up top to Al Bell, and we can't quite get it there. One of the reasons the corner's really laying off. Really laying deep off of Al Bell. And
I believe I'd lay off, too.
If I was playing corner, I think I'd lay off, too.
Here's a great play here, the reverse.
Here's the reverse to Al, and he does a real good job of running it and getting it in for the touchdown. Al Bell is a receiver, but when you put the ball in his hand, whether you hand it to him on a reverse or whether you throw it to him, he's like a running back from there on. He's real tough, and he's got real good running ability. Real happy to see him get his touchdown there. Okay, I get a little happy on him, excited. That's good.
One thing great, too, Coach, you don't have to put your whole offense on one person. We've got Greg Richardson, we got Clay Whitehurst, you've got the great running backs. One thing I noticed about the running backs yesterday, all of them got tremendous speed.
Yep. those three young ones, all three of them have got great speed, and you know, I'm not sure that one of them's any faster than the other one, to tell you the truth. They're three different type players, but as far as when you talk about raw speed, they've got great speed, all three of them, Jelks, Murray Hill, and Bobby Humphrey. But they're three different type running backs. But I think you're true in what you say as far as not depending on one guy at one position. But we can move it around a little bit, and I think as we go along, we're still young as an offensive football team, but as we go along, we should progress. There's Larry Roberts. I think Larry Roberts had another good game yesterday. Had a real good game against Texas A&M.
Well, that's the end of the second quarter, Coach. You go in at halftime. What adjustments did you make defensively?
Well, defensively, we knew that we just weren't doing the job, and I think our players were a little bit embarrassed, to tell you the truth. And I don't think it was a lack of effort, because I saw great effort on the field. I think it was more of a combination. I'd like to think it was more of a combination of maybe trying too hard and thinking about the formations and the looks that they were giving us, and thinking a little bit more than reacting and playing football. But they did go out the second half and shut them out in the second half, and that's what a defense is supposed to do.
So we roll into third quarter action, Coach. Do you think that the absence of Cornelius Bennett from the defensive linebacking position had any effect on your defense?
Well, I think anytime you take a great player out of a defensive scheme or out of an offensive scheme, I think it has a certain amount of effect. But I don't think it had such a great amount of effect that it would allow us to play as ineffectively as we did in the first half. I'd like to think that anyway. You know, but anytime you lose a player with the impact that Cornelius Bennett is going to have, you're going to lose a little bit.
Well, I was on the sideline with him yesterday, and I know that he really hated to be out. I mean, well, he loves to play football.
I guarantee you, there's no one in this world that loves to play the game any more than he does, and that's one of the reasons he's a great player. I don't think you can be a great player and not love to play the game. There's his fill-in right there, Derek Thomas making the tackle on that play. See, here's our other quarterback that comes in, and we get a turnover right here. The defense gets us a turnover, and then the offense takes the ball and starts moving it right on down the field. It's Craig Turner. But I think I was happy. You know, we're talking about our running backs and so forth, and young people on offense getting in there to get to play. Some of our young people on defense, Derek Thomas, for example, filling in for Cornelius, he's just going to get better and better. He's got an awful lot of ability. Greg Gilbert got in there and made 7 tackles and 1 assist. We've got to play him more so that he can get better. I think he can be a real fine player as an inside linebacker. And Willie Shepard got in the game. I was pleased with Willie's performance. I think he was in there on 6 or so tackles. I think he made 5 and was in there for on assist on another. There's a touchdown pass to Bobby Humphrey on the play there. But we got some people in there young people on defense, and that's where we've got to get a few more of our linemen in there a little bit more time, rather, with Willie Riles and Anthony Smith and those guys, Tommy Cole, so that they can come along as time goes along, so they can help us down the stretch also. So if we were to get some key injuries down the stretch.
Well, we're into fourth quarter action here, Coach, and you've got to be feeling good at this point.
Well, we're feeling pretty comfortable at this point. The big thing that I wanted our team to do, Dennis, was to play better, play good, solid football, you know. And I think good teams, and if you're going to be a good team, or you're working to be a championship caliber team, I think you do, regardless of the opponent. That's why I say I'm pleased with the way that we prepared during the week, and I'm pleased with the way we went about playing the game. We didn't play as well as we can or as well as we would have to in some spots against some of the teams that we're going to have to play down the road. But still, we played pretty well overall. It's football for Gene Jelks. I really felt for him, because he goes in right there and he misses next series. He misses another pass, but then a little bit later on he gets his first touchdown. So we toss it to him down there and he gets his touchdown. So I was real happy for him. His family was at the game. It was real good to see his family, Anthony, his brother, and his mother, and his father. But there's Anthony Smith making a play for a sack, and was getting real excited. But he's one of those players on defense that I think the more we can play him, the better he's going to help us down the road. And he's got great ability, but he just needs a lot of playing time to improve and get to where he needs to get to. Here's Doug Allen. Doug Allen is a solid football player. There he was running the ball. There you saw him making a key block for the other back, Bobby Humphrey. But he's a real solid football player, and I was glad to see us be able to get him in the game.
Stay with us, everyone. We'll be back in a moment. And you got to be feeling good at this point.
Well, we're feeling good, Dennis. We want to just finish it up with a solid game and still try to play as many people as we can and get some of our young players in there a little bit more. Here's Gene Jelks carrying the football on just a blast play up inside. But that's the thing we'd like to do. We'd still like to keep a little bit of a hold on winning the fourth quarter. And I think our defense, even though their offense did a real fine job of moving the ball down and holding on to it a big part of the fourth quarter, our defense did what it took to kind of dig in down there and keep them out of the end zone for us there at the end. So I think our football team, as a football team, we still won the fourth quarter, which I think is important for us.
Well, as you mentioned earlier, one thing I think is going to really help us is that we're able to play a lot of players yesterday, and we've got a tough stretch ahead of us, and it's certainly going to help us.
Yeah, we do. And here's Carlos Robinson. He's one of the 10 backs that we played, and also the quarterback that's in there is a lot of people might not know him. Is number 13, Dave Smith. He's a walk-on from up in Gadsden, and he's been doing real well. He started out doing well in the fall, and both he and Vince Sutton, we were able to play them a little bit, but as far as getting them some work in the passing game, we didn't. You don't work on your passing game too much when you're ahead 35-10. But
run that clock.
Right. But we didn't get them some work in the passing game. But I think they handled themselves real well there at quarterback and get them a little bit of experience, because you never know when something might happen to Mike. You know, you'd like to think it wouldn't, but you never know. Here's Gene Jelks again, showing the ability and speed and cutting ability that he has.
Oh, he made up for those couple of drop passes earlier. I tell you, he runs tough for a small guy.
Right. There's Don Horsted. Don Horsted is back with us, kind of working his way into playing. Here's the little man, Murray Hill. There's the guy that fell down. He put a move on him that was really a nice move, and he gets it down to inside the 5-yard line. And here he is again, coming outside. I think he makes his first touchdown there. And that was a replay. That was a replay of the last one. We take him out, give him a little breather on that run, and there's Gene Jelks' first touchdown to make it 45-10. Real happy for him. We had 2 or 3 guys yesterday to make their first touchdown ever, or first touchdown in a crimson uniform. Here's a mortar kick, what we call a mortar kick. We try to kick it real high, down to around the 20-yard line, so our coverage people can get down under it and be there when the ball gets there, and it worked out very well for us there.
Well, Van Tiffen didn't get to kick as much this week as he did last week, but still did a great job when he was called.
He sure did. He did a great job on his kickoffs and his PATs and field goals, and he happens to be the kicker that was here that's in on that record that they set for consecutive number of PATs. You know, the other kickers are Peter Kim and Paul Tried and Terry Sanders, so there's actually 4 of them that's in on the record that they set yesterday, 131, and we kicked 132 yesterday. So real happy for Van, but I'm real happy for those other kickers too, because to me that's an Alabama record. It's not a Van Tiffen record, and he would tell you the same thing.
Incidentally, that surpassed Georgia. They had 130.
Right. But real happy to see our school in a position to do that.
Well, it was a great ball game, Coach. Thanks for joining us, everyone. For Coach Perkins, I'm Dennis Holman. See you next week.
The Ray Perkins Show has been brought to you by the people who bring you the refreshing taste of Coca-Cola. By Pony, where sports are more than just a game. By Frito-Lay, makers of Lay's and Ruffles brand potato chips. Coach Perkins' wardrobe has been furnished by Blacks. Fashion apparel for men and women, Birmingham and Huntsville.